long before the world as we know it existed, in the middle of the empty abyss called Ginnungagap, between the realm of ice, Niflheim, and the realm of fire, Muspelheim, Ymir, the primordial giant, was born. He emerged from the union of icy frost and scorching flames, a being of immense power and colossal size, larger than any mountain that would later exist. Ymir, the primordial entity, was a living embodiment of primordial chaos. His colossal and majestic figure rose in the vastness of the Ginnungagap, defying nothingness with his mere existence. He possessed a brute and incalculable strength, a manifestation of the same unbridled energy that gave birth to the cosmos. His screams, a sound at once terrible and mesmerizing, echoed across the abyss, filling every corner with their echo. It was a song of creation, a wild and unpredictable melody that spoke of the origins and mysteries of the universe. Ymir's eyes were two burning luminaries, blazing like primeval suns. They gazed with a fierce intensity that illuminated the shadows of the Ginnungagap, towering over the darkness and silence with their radiance. Each time he blinked, it seemed that a new universe was born and died in the blink of an eye. His every movement, though slow and deliberate, shook the void, unleashing tremors that rippled like waves through the Ginnungagap. When Ymir moved an arm, it seemed as if the constellations themselves were being swept along its path. Ymir fed on the milk of the cow Odumla, a creature of purity and selflessness that had been born of the same flames and ice as Ymir. It was a cycle of symbiotic dependence, a bond that united giant and cow in an eternal dance of nourishment and growth. While Ymir slept, an unparalleled spectacle of creation unfolded. The children of the giants sprang from his sweat, born from his skin as if it were the earth itself. They fell into the void of Ginnungagap, growing and multiplying in their haven of chaos. Each was a replica of Ymir, though not as powerful as he, destined to follow in their progenitor's footsteps and dwell. In the icy abyss, the cow Odumla, born of the same fusion of ice and fire that gave birth to Ymir, licked the salt from the frost of Niflheim. Within 3 days, a being emerged from the ice, Buri, the first god, a being of immense wisdom and power. Buri bore a son, Bor, who in turn sired 3 strong and brave sons, Odin, Vili, and Vi. These gods, unlike the giants, were beings of purpose and order. They watched with growing unease the chaos and destruction that was unleashed by the growth of the Jotun, the sons of Ymir. At a certain point, Odin, the leader of the gods and lord of wisdom, spoke, with authority and determination. The time has come to end this age of chaos. We will forge a new world, a world of order and justice. His spear, Gungnir, seemed to glow with a special radiance as it was unsheathed, reflecting the determination of its owner. The confrontation that followed was a battle of cosmic proportions. The gods, despite being inferior in size to the primordial giant, did not back down. They proved to be formidable foes thanks to their cunning, courage, and coordination. Each god used his weapon with mastery, Odin with his spear, Vili with his sword, and Vi with his shield, weaving a dance of attacks and defenses, throwing themselves at the giant with indomitable ferocity. Ymir, on the other hand, responded with enormous force. Each blow from his massive fist seemed to have the power to shake the universe, sending shock waves through the Ginnungagap. But for all his titanic strength, Ymir had neither the agility nor the cunning of the gods. The battle raged on, a violent clash between order and chaos. But in the end, the tenacity and cunning of the gods prevailed. Odin, with a last titanic effort, managed to outflank the giant's defense and strike the final blow with Gungnir. The giant Ymir fell, felled by the unified force of the gods, marking the end of an era and the beginning of a new one. Ymir's fall unleashed a catastrophe of unimaginable proportions. His blood, a symbol of his power and his life, gushed forth with overflowing violence, filling the Ginnungagap to the brim. The flood was so massive that it drowned almost all the Jotun, the giants that had emerged from his body. Only 2 of these giants, a man and a woman, managed to find refuge in the cracks of reality, saving them from the flood. From them would descend all the giants who, in the future, would continue in conflict with the gods. Once the flood had passed, the gods, victorious but solemn, approached the fallen body of Ymir. They then began what would be their greatest and most momentous work. They took the corpse of the giant and began to transform it, using every part of it to shape a new universe. Ymir's blood, already dispersed, became the oceans, rivers, and lakes, a constant reminder of the tumult of his end. His flesh, red and muscular, became the land, continents, and diverse landscapes that would harbor life. Its skin, tough, became the vast fields and meadows where plants would grow and trees would flourish. His bones, once pillars of his tremendous strength, became the mountains and hills, majestic and defiant. His skull, once home to chaotic thoughts, became the firmament that covered the world, dotted with shining stars. Ymir's hair, once wild and untidy, became the trees, forests, and thickets. And his brain, the organ of his madness and debauchery, became the clouds, shifting and capricious, perpetually moving and reshaping in the sky. Thus, from the violence of Ymir's death, the world we know was born. The death of the primordial giant, at once tragic and necessary, is reflected both in the terrible conflicts that would characterize the relationship between the gods and the giants, and in the beauty and diversity of the world created from his body. Chaos gave way to order, destruction to creation, and life to death.